Hello, it's early May and we're in a rather unusual situation in that for the last few months it hasn't really rained. So the pool level is really quite low. And people are asking, what water shall they use if there's no roof water, rainwater available? Well, that is a very good question, and it's even more pertinent to people who have just made a pool and it's sitting there empty and it really does need some water. So if it's not going to rain, we're not going to collect any roof water, because roof water is really the best. In fact, the best water for a pool is the water that falls directly on the pool itself, and which is what would occur in nature. So second best is stuff that falls on the roof, and then we pump it over to the pond. I could actually illustrate this just to show the relative differences between various sources of water. So this is a conductivity meter. You might have seen one of these before, and it just gives an idea of the number of charged particles and therefore potentially pollution in water. Anyway, so this has come off the roof and it's reading 54 microsiemens per centimetre. So that just gives an indication of the number of dissolved ions in there, because we want something that's water that's a really low figure, ideally to top up the pool. But if we haven't got roof water, we have to think of alternatives. But if you're lucky enough to have a borehole, which quite frankly I doubt many people have got, but I just thought I'd measure that. This is from our borehole, which we'll never use, and let's just see. Now the figure for that is 860, which is astonishingly high actually. But we'll probably find that the local tap water is about the same, probably. Oh, it's gone off. Here, oh, it's died. Oh, there we go. Right. Know the feeling. Oh, it's gone again. Right. So if I measure quick while it's still alive, 682. Now that is again, it's really high. Now that's quite satisfying really, because that's tap water. Now tap water has a lot of ions in it in our region, and so a lot of potential problematic minerals could be in there, basically phosphates. But what it's showing is that the high reading is probably more indicative of carbonate ions, and that there might not be that many phosphates in there, because the stuff in the borehole should be pretty clear, and that's about the same reading, because that is also taking water from the chalk aquifer, which is high in carbonate ions. Conclusion there? Well, it's difficult to say, but what they do for tap water in this region is they add phosphoric acid, and that's to inhibit corrosion. And phosphorus is what is the main limiting nutrient for a pool. So it means that if you add some phosphorus, you're going to get an awful lot of algal growth. Yeah, basically, algae will be the organisms that most quickly absorb those nutrients, the added phosphate. So yeah. So what? In conclusion, is that a bit too soon? But basically, if you've got a pool that's sort of dropping in water level, just be tolerant of the water level changing, and just ride it out. If it drops really quite low, just hang on in there. It might rain at some point. And it's a bit of a myth to think that you have to keep the pool level constantly high, constantly topped up. You don't. That transient shoreline caused by the water evaporating and the water level dropping is actually a really good ecological habitat for various organisms, and so adds to biodiversity. So don't worry about that. If you've got a new pool that you've just made and hasn't got any water in, okay, well, the thing to do really is to be realistic and add tap water. Now, it will contain a large amount, normally, a large amount of phosphate. But it's better to fill the pool up and then deal with the problems that phosphate will cause. Now, it just means that there will be more single-celled algae and the plants will grow, probably will be stronger for it, for having this phosphorus around. But the trouble is, it's the algae which will get hold of it, and it could actually make the water cloudy. And if that happens, then you can't use a pool because it's unsafe to have cloudy water. So try and mitigate the effects of the phosphorus by putting your own algae in. This is what I suggest. And I have got, this is my favourite string algae, because it comes out in like a sort of false beard, a green false beard. It all hooks together. It's got like yeah, little bobs. It's like Velcro basically. It all sticks together nicely. So it's really quite easy to get out of the pond. And when you take that out, you're removing the nutrients that are bound up in the phosphorus basically. And you put that on a compost heap, you're removing that. So I would, well, I'll show you. I would put that in the pond because that it's just a really good algae to have, and it's not going to, you know, we'll see. It's not going to suddenly, you know, take over the entire surface. We hope. So that really just deal with, if you've got a new pond, put tap water in, if that's all you've got, and then deal with the consequences, which, well, you know, yeah, it should be fine. It should be fine. Well, it will be fine if that's all you've got. And as the plants grow, they will be absorbing the nutrients as well. And so if you're, you know, on top of the, you know, taking out dead and decaying matter, dead and decaying plants, take that out. That's removing nutrients from the pool, and you'll start to recover that phosphorus that you put in the pool with the tap water. So I hope that's given a bit of guidance. I'm sorry it's also, you know, here and there, but you know, that's the way it is. So hopefully that's helped. Bye for now. There we go. So the river water is 750. That's a high figure as well. A lot of it may be due to carbonates, but looking at the water, there could be a lot of unpleasant things in the river. So I would not use that to fill up the pool. Pond water 239. So yeah, that's all. There we go, 237. Yeah, which is quite normal for the pond.